Good morning. This is Christy from the Be the Light YouTube channel. Thank you so much for coming by, and I send you love today, tomorrow, and continuously. I am going to be honest, as I always am, that I am going to do my best to do this video without tears. I am in a process, and I love sharing my parts of my journey to help you all understand your own. Again, I want to say that I was completely unaware of this process, of what things are actually called. So I would experience something in the very beginning, be totally confused, but I would continuously seek for answers. And that is just through the internet. And because I don't have anyone around me who is experiencing this or who has ever experienced this. So it was a little aggravating in the very beginning, very lonely in the very beginning. An awakening process can be that, very lonely, very separate, very individual. But I also have seen that part as a positive aspect of it all, because of all of the things that occur within it. There's so many symptoms. So when I had a symptom or a sensation that was occurring that I just could not figure out on my own, I would do a search, and whatever resonated with me or sounded like what I was going through, whether or not I was afraid of it or felt like it was taking place, I took it in somehow. And in the very beginning, everything that I was reading created fear within me, because I was a fear-based individual. No matter what it was, if it was different than myself, the self that I was pretending to be, it made me afraid. And this awakening process will demolish every single thing that you have ever felt, thought to be true. It will tear down walls, and it will rebuild yourself back up into a beautiful structure of love, if you allow it to. This is a very, very, very beautiful process that can take place within every person who is willing to just love. I know that people wake up to this type of energy within by creating stillness or meditating, by doing yoga practices and going elsewhere. I have done it because I opened to faith and I opened to love. This is a side that I don't know if it's longer of a process, because now you're dealing with it through your emotional state. I think still all the other ones will still bring up the same results. You know, you will have to deal with your emotions if you choose to go this route. But because I had the intention in the very beginning of going as far as I had to go, doing what I had to do to the fullest, I knew that my journey was going to be a little bit longer. I knew that my journey was going to take me to the very highest of highs. I want to be my best self, for myself and for the world. I want to give all of who I am, because I have been given so much. I wanted to know so much about God because of seeing his gifts in my life, finally. But anyway, so here I am. There's a part of this process that, again, I wasn't aware of how things were supposed to take place. And it's just a learning process of discovering what you are going through, enjoying what's taking place, and then understanding it. I am very blessed again to have God speaking to me about my process. So from what I understand is that, there are when we are doing our inner work, that is a process in itself. And when we choose to represent love, that is a process in itself. You are eliminating those negative emotions, and you are going within and you are allowing all of those broken pieces that you have held on to manifest again into your life. You are dealing with it all over again in your life, and you are clearing it out. That is the part I think that people really refrain from, and why they don't go this way. Because if we didn't want to deal with it when everything occurred back in our past, why would we want to do it again? But that is the number one thing that has to take place when you say yes. And if you are saying no after waking up and realize that now your past is coming back up and you have to deal with these emotions all over again, and you don't like it, and you're now saying no, and you're suppressing it more and more, you're hurting yourself a lot, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's like a double whammy. You're building up all of that from your past all over again, and it's going to manifest even more so in your life. So you have the choice to say yes or no to this process of awakening. That is your free will choice. But there is a process, again, I'm taking so long to get to, is after the clearing and getting to a certain point, the energy is continuously moving in. But in the very beginning, all it's really doing, it's both the male and the feminine energy that's within us all. All genders have the male and female energy. Some of us have more masculine energy, and some of us will have more feminine energy. But when they are both at an imbalance, that's why we become so off. And I had to work on my masculine energy first. One, all of us, well, I think a lot of women in today's society are more masculine based. We have built this huge wall up to keep pain out. We feel that we have to be this really strong foundation and the breadwinner, whatever it is. And when our masculine energy is so high, it's mine was overactive. I'm sure you're overgiving. You either give too much or you don't give at all, and it's a lot of the masculine energies of the emotions are there as a result. You're hard, you're standoffish, you're I had notes, and please forgive me. But we know how a man is supposed to be, and even actual male man could be overpowered by this male energy, and they can't see the sensitive side of a woman as a result. or even within themselves, they have built this wall of separation where they have to be strong as well and can't feel that love and connection, even between themselves. If they can't do it between themselves, they can't have it for another individual. And so I have just recently completed that stage of bringing balance to my masculine energy. The masculine energy is the fire. And I went through, I don't know, it seems like it's been the entire year and a half, but it hasn't. There have been months and months which it would fluctuate, where I would get breaks and not feel anything. And then it finally got to a point of just consistently being there, of being on fire. And tons of anger would come up, tons of aggravation would come up, tons of fear would come up. And I mentioned this in my other videos. My process has mostly taken place at night when I am trying to rest. But again, I appreciate it because it tells me where I am going, what's taking place, and what I will have soon as a result. So I was always having these intense hot flashes, and in the beginning, I think I would sweat a lot with it, but then towards the end, it was just fire without the actual sweating involved. And it was very uncomfortable. So I just recently completed that stage. And now I am balancing my feminine energy. And she just began to work on her own here the past few days, which is, first it brought up some anger and some things that deal with the feminine anger, the mother figure within us, kind of. And so the past several nights I have been awoken with kind of still the hot flash, but not so intense, but awoken nonetheless, and those emotions arose. And today I am very sensitive. My emotions are wanting to come up and allow me to just cry. I just feel like crying. I'm just very emotional. And it's nothing about being sad. I think it's more of love. And the feminine energy is the coolness energy, and she is considered to be, well, she is the Shakti, and the masculine energy is Shiva. And the purpose of these two things is to create balance within themselves as the individual that they are. Even though I fit already balanced my masculine energy, my feminine energy, the Shakti energy, was still working with my masculine energy at the same time. And I could feel the actual movement of that energy flow, whether it was burning or the cooling sensation. Because if it was so much heat, it could be unhealthy. So she had to still work through me and keep my body temperature at the level that it was supposed to be. If too much of one energy is working, then it could, again, have a negative aspect to it. So regardless, both of them are still working simultaneously to create a balance within, yet one will have to be done prior to the other. And the masculine energy is the one that has to become in balance for the Shakti energy to finally flow through you and she comes from our root chakra. She's been laying dormant down there, and the Shakti energy is the same thing as receiving the Holy Spirit. And this is where this is what I resonate with because of God and Jesus. And this is what God has shown me, is that the Holy Christ, or the Christ oil, is rising within me. But I have to complete certain processes of it. And then once this is actually risen all the way through, and the Shakti energy merges with the Shiva and reaches finally into your crown, and bursts out, you reach enlightenment. And you have truth, complete truth within you. And you are finally now connected with all things, with the universe and with God. The Shiva, the masculine energy, is considered to be, sorry about that, I accidentally hit stop. But the universe, the energy of the universe is the Shakti, which is actually the Father. I'm sorry, the energy of the universe is the Shakti, and the Father is the Shiva. Or the Christ is the Shakti, because he represents the love of the world, and the Shiva part energy is God. And when you merge these two together, you have everlasting life. I hope I said all of that correctly. Jesus is actually the representation of the feminine energy, because, like I just said, he is love. Although he is a masculine male, a male in human form, his heart was full of love. And when we, whether male or female, are in the reflection of love, we are using our purest form. But we have gone through society suppressing a lot of this femininity, that if we are too feminine, we aren't strong enough. That has been the mindset of society, and it's so wrong. It's nothing to do with being, strong is the ego. It's that type of strong is the ego. It's the controlling aspect of what being strong really is, and it's the wrong type. When you actually step fully into love, you are really strong. You're strong in your own structure, and you're strong with giving love still. There is no keeping back love. There's just always giving, but yet there's this separation of no expectation. You are doing this when you finally step into pure love for the greatest good, and everything always works out. So I know I've gotten off topic here, but the point is that there is a process of allowing these energies to do what's necessary within us. They both will work together. Masculine and feminine energies will work together when you are first beginning, and then there will come a point where one is really trying to create balance in itself first, because it has to be completed for the other process to start. The feminine energy is the last of it all before it begins to merge together with all things and give you your godlike self. That is the purpose of it, to create that complete balance within you and to give you your godlike self, so you know all truth about who you are and the truth that was meant for you to understand within this universe. You become one with the universe, you become one with God, you become one with yourself. And that's when manifesting the life that you want becomes more and more and more easier. And I don't know how long it's going to take for me to complete this cycle. I, from the time that God tells me to the time that it's complete, it isn't very long. But in the very beginning, He would tell me certain things, and it would take me months to get there. So it's again an individual path of how much you're putting into it. And how much are you allowing to take place within you? When you have a sensation that is flowing through you, that is unexplainable, we tend to see that as a fear or a trauma or an illness. But when you actually can feel it and sense it, and then enjoy it, love it, attempt to understand what's taking place, you allow it to flow naturally through you. It's clearing a blockage, a necessary blockage to give you the life that you were always meant to have. So the last few days for myself have been, I think the feminine energy is quite possibly going to be the most difficult part of this. It's going to bring up a lot of other emotions that, of course, are more feminine. And I think because I have suppressed this part of my divine self for a very long time, it might be a little more difficult. And I think that's why I am in an emotional state today of being very sensitive today, and it's okay. I see it with love, and I know that through this I am still receiving more. I also wanted to say before I go that the left side of our body is the feminine side, and the right side is our masculine side. The left side of the body receives, and the right side gives. You know, like when you are shaking hands, regardless of what hand you write with, we tend to always give our right hand. And it's the gesture of, hello, I'm giving you a piece of who I am. You're actually giving love. So think of it like that. We hand money over with our right hand. We hand all the things for the most part with our right hand. So it is our giving hand. We are always giving and showing and nurturing with this hand. So I apologize if I have taken way too much time and have not made a lot of sense. Throughout this process, there is a process of not making sense. You sometimes have clarity within your mind, and then sometimes it's a little foggy, and sometimes your thought process is all over the place. So I have compassion for those who are going through this and have an imbalance within themselves, whether it's their thought process or their emotions, everything that is going on. I have compassion for myself. So if you're listening to this and I don't make sense, I'm asking for your compassion as well. But if you have been through this, I think you know exactly what I am talking about. Being all over the place, having the heart to share, the mind that wants to, but when it comes out of the mouth, it doesn't make sense. So I hope mine has. And I just want to give parts of my journey to help you understand a little bit of your own. I know that now that I am raising my feminine energy and attempting to do some more clearing here and merging with my masculine self in complete balance. After this phase, I will reach my grand finale. And after that, it's going to become better and better and better. I understand that through this process here that I am about to complete soon, when I don't know, that I'll have a lot more understanding about my purpose, or complete understanding about my purpose. And I mean, I know pieces of what it's going to include, but we have to merge all of this together for that complete understanding to take place. And so that's what I'm really looking forward to. Having my purpose and then finally being able to fulfill it. Because now what I am doing, it's so minor, it's so small compared to what my true purpose is and what I'll be handed as a result. This is Christy. Much love, health, and healing your way. I am bringing purpose to your life. Take care.